This is Audible.
Audible Originals presents Icarus, a true story. Written and performed by Jeffrey Eugenides, with additional narration by Barrett Letty, Neil Helligers, and Vikas Adam.
Chapter 1. On Wednesday, November 23, 1994, a day after my father would have turned 70, my brother Brent and I flew from New York to Daytona Beach to claim his body, which had been found in the wreckage of his single-engine airplane 3 days earlier. On Sunday evening at around 6 o'clock, the Piper had gone down inexplicably into dense woods 2.5 miles from Daytona Beach International Airport. My father had been making his final approach for landing when his plane disappeared from radar. Because my mother was in New Mexico at the time, visiting her own mother, who didn't have a private pilot's license and had made it to 90, no one noticed when my father didn't return home that evening. It had taken the detective working the case 2 days to find us. Now, as Brent and I flew down to Florida, our mother was flying from Albuquerque to Connecticut. Brent and his first wife, Kim, lived in Marlborough, near Hartford, and that was where, having no better idea where to bury a man who'd become as rootless as my father, we decided to lay him to rest. Unless, of course, we buried him somewhere else. The reality was that we didn't know where he was, or why he'd crashed, or what we were going to do now that he was gone. Our mother was flying to Connecticut because it was unthinkable that she would go to Florida and see what we were about to see. The irony wasn't lost on us, however. Less than 72 hours had passed since my father's plane crash, and 3 of the 4 remaining members of our nuclear family were up in the air again. Before we boarded the plane, Brent and I had hesitated at the end of the jetway, struck by how flimsy the aluminum hull looked. Once airborne, every bit of turbulence unnerved us. Tropical storm Gordon had passed through Florida the week before, disrupting the atmosphere all along the eastern seaboard. The plane jolted and dropped without warning as we passed through the storm's wake. Our fellow passengers on their way to Thanksgiving celebrations were in a holiday mood, ordering drinks, laughing, smiling, and turning around in their seats to share jokes with friends and family members. Their frivolity made me feel more estranged. Death was brand new to me that day. If I had expected anyone in my family to die, it would have been my grandmother, a lifelong smoker and drinker who'd lived a hard life. But instead, it was my father, a man not all that old and still in good health, who was suddenly gone. And what astonished me most was that the world kept going as usual, and I was expected to be part of it. After the plane landed, Brent and I got our carry-ons from the overhead bins and exited the plane. Given that the crash had happened so close to Daytona International, we expected that airport officials would meet our flight. But as we came into the terminal, no one was there. Did they know we were coming? I asked. I don't know. I thought so. We wandered around in a daze, unsure what to do. Finally, in the main terminal, we went up to an information desk. The gray-haired man behind it smiled and asked, "Can I help you?" "We're looking for our dad?" Brent said. It was the same interrogative tone he'd used when telling me about the accident the night before. The phone had rung in my apartment in New York just after 8 o'clock. When I answered it, Brent had said, "Jeff, Dad's dead?" as if unsure of the news himself. "What do you mean?" "His plane crashed. The police just called me." "He's dead?" "Yeah. He's dead," he said, this time with more conviction. "I just got off the phone with Mom. We have to fly down to Daytona." But as soon as I'd hung up, I collapsed to the floor in a paroxysm of grief that I didn't know I was capable of, and that had no correlative in the restrained Midwestern emotional range in which I'd been raised. My posture was biblical, a matter of the rending of garments and the gnashing of teeth. Face down, I sobbed, crying out again and again a single phrase. He was a good father,